Oklahoma. Good evening, world. Good evening, everybody out there. I recently watched a movie called The Outfit, and at first I didn't want to watch it because we judge books by their cover, right? And kind of the same thing with movies. And I didn't want to watch it. It looked kind of boring, and but I dove in anyways. I've been watching a lot of movies lately, and I've been enjoying the process of watching good movies. And every now and then you come across something that's totally unexpected. Sorry, I got hiccups. And this movie blew my mind. It's one of those movies that is one of those one location movies, and I thought they did a really good job of utilizing the space, telling the story, having the story unfold at this space. Now, the movie it takes place in, I want to say, what was it? Was it 19 something? It was like 1956 or something like that in Chicago. I think I got the year right. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check on that. But the movie itself was actually incredible. The plot twists, the how just you just don't know where it's going, and that's when you know you're watching a good movie. So sometimes, a lot of times, you can just kind of tell where it's headed, and you can just kind of, at that point, you're just kind of like, ah, okay, whatever. But this movie, you had no idea what the hell was going on. You didn't know what was going to happen next. You didn't know how things are going to work out. It really, in a lot of ways, it kept you on the edge of your seat. Um, and I like movies like that. I like movies like that, and the fact that they did that so well with one location, and they did it so well, so by using drama, conflict, plot twists, really good plot twists, the simple filmmaking techniques. It was filmed really well. Hey, what up, people? Lesha Williams says hi. How you doing? I'm talking about this movie. I hope you're doing well this evening. It's like almost close to midnight here in Tulsa, like 11 something. Hi, hi, hi. What up, Brock? Brock in the house. What up, people? Thanks for visiting. I'm talking about this movie I watched called The Outfit. Incredible movie. I highly recommend it. Now, if you stick around, I'm probably going to give away the storyline and all that stuff. But it's one of my top favorites right now. One of my top favorites. And like I was saying before, when I was looking at it, looking at the title and the picture, it didn't look that intriguing. But that's the trick of this movie, how it gets you. You think it's going to be something that it's not. It's a complete twist, and it blew my mind. The acting, especially the main character. The main character, he's nicknamed English. He's a tailor from London, and well, he doesn't like to be called a tailor. He likes to be called a cutter, and he creates these high-end suits, right? And what's incredible? Hey, Seth, what's up? What's up? How you doing? Hope you're having a good evening. And so you have this main character. He's from London. They're in Chicago right now, and he designs and sews and builds suits from scratch for people. And I'm telling you, the acting, at least from the main character, superb. It's one of the most like superb, Oscar-worthy acting for this type of movie. It was a one-location type of movie, and like I said, it was Chicago. And this guy, he has his shop, right? He's very unsuspecting. He's like this sweet old man, gentleman, English gentleman, right, from the beginning. And there's a receptionist that he works with, and she helps him out. Well, he's dealing with these gangsters that come in, and I guess there's a little mailbox that the Englishman keeps in the back room, and the gangsters use that to receive their mail. It's one of their safe spots. They call it a safe spot for them. Well, you're watching the movie, the first, I want to say, 10, 15 minutes, not a whole lot happens, but it does set it up really good to where you're just completely not suspecting anything. You don't know what the heck's gonna happen the next thing you know, right? There's these gangsters. There's two of them. I believe one of the names is Richie, and the other guy's name is Francis. And they're going to pick up the packages, and they receive a package from the outfit. And the outfit, for those who don't know, the outfit was created by Al Capone, and when he died, all these gangs that were all over the world, yeah, all over the world, all over the U.S., became part of an underground association called the Outfit, essentially. And this this group of gangs in Chicago, they were trying to join the Outfit. But here's the issue. Here's like the big inciting incident, if you will, if you want to call it that. They find a package from the Outfit, and it turns out that there's a tape that that they received from the Outfit, allegedly, and the tape has the person that's been like ratting him out. It's the rat, right? They're looking for the rat. Now, before they can even take the tape and deliver it out, right? They're on their way out. They get ambushed by, I believe, what is it? It's a French gang that's there, and they get ambushed. So they return back to their safe house, which is that tailor shop. So they're there, and one of them is shot. Richie gets shot, and Richie is the son of this Chicago gang called, I believe, called the Boyles, if I remember correctly. And so his father is like the head of the gang. So this is his son. He gets shot on the side. And so Francis, the other guy, is like, look, listen, we can't go out there because there's police looking for us. They're all over the place. You have the French gang also looking for us, so it's too dangerous for us to be out there, okay? So we're going to stay here for a while. Here's the suitcase with the tape. It's safe. And Richie's shot, so they put Richie on a table. And the guy, since he's a tailor, a cutter, a guy who knows how to build suits, Francis forces the Englishman to sew him up. And Richie got shot where he got shot on the side, and it went through, so there was no bullet. There's a hole on the front, a hole in the back. So the Englishman sews him up. And at this point, you're like, okay, we got some action. The movie picks up, and it's actually like really entertaining. And here's a twist. And this movie is filled with twists. This is what I love about this movie. It's such a simple movie. It has action in it, but it also, these plot twists, they get you, And I always don't want to tell you because I don't want to ruin it for you. But if you want to find out what it's about, I'm telling you right now. We got Brock. He says, not to distract you from your run-through, but may I ask where this is available to be viewed? Well, I viewed it on Netflix. I should have mentioned that. I was watching Netflix. That's what I have. That's what I watch movies on. But it's an awesome movie, okay? And when I first saw it, I was like, is this gonna be good? I don't think this is gonna be good. Is it about a tailor? Like, how entertaining is a movie gonna be about a tailor, right? Gracie says, hey man, I know life can be really hard, but I just want to say I'm proud of the man you have become, and I think you're handsome, sweet, adorable, loyal, heartwarming, intelligent, piece of gold, and an angel. Aw, thank you so much. I've really been working on myself. And I gotta say, there's a lot of people out there who want to see me hurt, and I'm not going to give them that privilege. Brock says, thank you, I really appreciate that. But thank you, Gracie. I thank you for your kind words. Like I said, I've been really working on myself this whole year. So let's get back to the movie. Because it's one of my favorites right now. And I appreciate all the love and coolness and 100 and all that stuff I'm getting from you all. But yeah, the movie is incredible. So you got Richie who's shot, right? He gets sewed up. And Francis is like, look, I know a guy who's close by. He's got like a lo-fi or hi-fi store, electronics, and I think he's got a tape player. I really want to know who's on that tape. He wants to know who the rat is. And so he leaves. And Richie finally wakes up because he passes out from the pain. He wakes up and he's feeling a lot better. And he has this like conversation with the Englishman. He has a little one-on-one conversation, and he fills his head with the suspicion that Francis is the rat. He's just kind of filling his head. And when you're watching this and you're like, what's going on here? What is the Englishman trying to pull? You know? And so what happens is when Francis gets back and he's like, yeah, I found a place where we can play the tape. And he says that he took a phone call prior before leaving, and the head boss of the gang, which is Richie's father, tells him he needs to stay put. Like Richie needs to stay put there. So Francis is like, let me take the tape. I'm gonna go to the store, right? And because the Englishman filled Richie's head that Francis could be the rat, it looks very suspicious that he wants to take the tape by himself, go by himself, and leave Richie there. And so Richie confronts him. He's like, "Oh, so you want to outsmart us? You want to take the tape? You don't want anyone to go with you? You don't want me to go with you to this place and find out about the tape?" And Francis, at that point, you're like, "Oh shit, maybe he is the rat." You're thinking as the audience. But in all honesty, he's just trying to do the right thing. He's trying to keep Richie safe. There's a lot of cops out there. There's also the French gang that are trying to kill him. So he's like, you stay put, because this is like the safest place for you right now. It's like a secret hideout for them. But he looks very suspicious that he wants to take the tape by himself, and all that. And so Richie confronts him. He's like, you're not taking that tape by yourself and leaving by yourself. That's not happening. And they have a confrontation, and the craziest thing happens. Okay, I'm sorry to spoil it for you who may want to watch it, but you can still watch it. It's still amazing. Richie pulls out a gun on Francis and tries to shoot him, but he misses. And Francis pulls out his gun and shoots Richie in the throat, like literally killing him. Right after they saved him. He just shoots the guy because they had this big confrontation. And then Richie falls on the floor, and Francis is like, he's pretty cold stone, like cold-hearted, right? So he's like, he goes down, he says, you're about to die. You know why you're about to die? It's not because you're arrogant. It's not because of this. It's because you're slow. You're slow. And you're gonna, now go burn in hell. And he shoots him one more time. Now, at this point, Francis looks really guilty, like he's the rat. You're thinking as the audience member, oh shit, this is the guy. He's got to be the guy. But now Francis has a big problem, a very big problem. He just killed the son of, the guy who runs this gang, and there's a witness. But here's the thing. They're on their way. And as soon as this goes down, right? As soon as this goes down, the boss pulls up front. You can hear the car pull up, and they're like, "Oh shit!" So Francis is like, "Okay, let's move the body, put him in this chest. Right, we'll hide him there, and then you keep them up front because I'm gonna clean this mess up." So he's cleaning up the blood while the Englishman is trying to stall the head boss man, right? He's there, he's looking for his son. He's very agitated at this point. He's like, where's my son? So finally they walk back out there to the back room, and as soon as they do, the blood is cleaned up. Francis comes out of the bathroom with his hands. He's washing his hands. He washed all the blood off his hands, and the body's in the chest. Richie is in the chest, and that's the boss's son sitting in that chest, right? So now Francis says, before they enter and all this stuff happens, Francis says, if you say anything, I'm going to kill you. So now the Englishman has to go along with this lie, like that, whatever Francis says. And so when the boss man comes, he's like, where's my son? And actually Francis isn't there yet. He's actually not there yet. It's just him. It's just the Englishman. Wait, let me see if I remember this correctly. Wait, let me see. No, I think, is Francis there? I don't recall if he was there or not, but I think Francis, what does he do? I can't remember. I think he leaves for a minute. I don't recall for what reason he leaves. But I'm trying to think, hold on, how does it go? Okay, no, so Francis is there, and so here's what happens. The Englishman has to go along with France's lie, which is he tells the boss man that Richie left because he just left, and the Englishman was trying to tell the boss man what happened, and before he can tell him the truth, completely. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, Francis does leave for a second, but I don't recall why. I don't remember why he leaves, but he leaves, and so. But then what happens is the Englishman is having a conversation with the boss man, and he's about to tell him that Francis shot his son, and the words that he says is Francis shot. Now, before he can finish that sentence, Francis walks in the front door with the receptionist with a gun to her head, and he's accusing her of being the rat. And so the boss man is like, "What the f is going on? Where's my son?" Right? He's like you telling me he just got up and left, and it's like December, it's snowing, and the boss man is smart. He notices Richie's coat hanging on the coat hanger, and he connects the dot, and he goes, "Listen, why would any man go and leave without his coat in the middle of December when it's snowing? It's like the coldest time there." It made no sense to him. So he's getting really agitated, right? And so Francis comes in, and he's about to like I said, the Englishman's about to tell him the truth, but instead of telling the truth, because Francis now has a gun pointed to the receptionist's head and is accusing her of being the rat, the Englishman says, well, a lie, tells him a lie, and says, look, Francis shot 4 of the French gang members, and Richie didn't shoot any of them, and he felt really embarrassed. So, him being Richie, and being like a hothead he is, and just kind of like nobody can tell him what to do, they tell him, well, the lie is that Richie ran off to go kill some of those gang members because he felt he felt embarrassed that he didn't kill anybody. And so the boss man is like, he kind of buys it, but he still has a lot of questions. And so they take the receptionist back to the back room, and they're gonna like beat the hell out of her to get some truth out, because Francis knows that this girl has been seeing Richie, right? They've been seeing each other and whatnot, and they spend a lot of time together, and Richie talks to her. And so Francis has his suspicion that the receptionist is the rat, which his suspicion is right, but he doesn't know that quite yet. He's actually just trying to frame her to get out of this mess. And the Englishman is like, no, you're not going to kill her. Like, she's like a daughter to me, So here's the craziest thing that happens. So right when they're about to beat the crap out of her, the Englishman stops it, right? And he tells like part of his story that he had like a wife and a child and they died, and he knows what it feels like to feel like, when someone's missing, and like he can understand the pain. And he says, killing me and killing her isn't going to solve the issue, right? He gets a phone call. It's a phone call from the the headquarters of these gangs, right? He takes the call, and it's like the timing couldn't be any more perfect, right? So the boss man's like, go take that call. We don't really hear the conversation over the phone, but we hear what the Englishman says. And so he says a few words like, he says like, hello? Oh, really? Oh, yes, we're all tremendously worried about Richie. Oh, okay, 20 minutes? Fantastic. That's all you hear, right? But we don't really know what that phone conversation was, but we find out later. And so the Englishman acts, he's lying, but he's lying to save their asses. So he tells the boss man, oh, that was Richie. Yeah, he's fine. He's over there at this address, and he's fine. He's waiting for you. And Francis is looking at him like, because he's dead. Richie's dead, and he's stuffed away in his chest. Francis is looking at him like, what are you coming up with? And so the boss man buys it, and he's like, all right, everybody, let's go back to this place and go meet my son. And Francis is like, what the hell, right? This is the biggest lie ever. Brock says, thank you for this. I've really enjoyed listening. It's definitely something I'm going to check out. It's getting late here in New York. Hey, New York, what's up? I hope you have a great rest of your day and stay safe. Appreciate it, man. If you can, give me a subscribe and whatnot. I would appreciate it. Yeah, awesome movie. Check it out, please. It's a really awesome Chicago gang movie, and it all takes place in one location. It kind of reminds me of Hitchcock's Rope a little bit. Very good movie. But anyways, so the head boss man goes back. He leaves, but he tells. And Francis though is like, wait, maybe I should stay back here just in case, right? Just in case, something happens, and the boss man's like, all right, stay behind. So the boss man leaves. And the Englishman is like, fuck, we couldn't get rid of this guy. He's dangerous. He's a wild card. We don't know what he's going to do. So, once they leave, Francis is like, what the hell was that? This is crazy. Like, he's going to find out his son isn't there. And I'm going to have to kill her and, and blame it on her and blame it on you. And the Englishman is like, whoa. Before you do anything, let me lay it out for you, right? Because as soon as they go over there and they find out the son isn't there, he's gonna come back and kill all of us. Okay, not just me and her, and you, Francis. And he convinces Francis of a plan that will save them, the three of them. And so it turns out that the secretary is the rat, and the Englishman knows it. And tells the truth, and the secretary is like, how did you know? Like, how did you know I was the rat? This and blah blah blah. But it's part of the plan, because he knows she has the phone number to call the French gang, and the plan is from the Englishman, and convinces Francis of this plan. He says, listen, they're gonna kill us all anyways. So why don't we let the secretary, the assistant, call the French gang? Let him know where the head, Mr. Boyle, whatever his name is, the head of this gang, tell him where he's gonna be at, and they can shoot him and kill him. Like just wait for him and shoot him, and it's like a setup. And he's like, why would I? He's like, well, I don't know if I can go with that. But the Englishman is like, look, listen, they're gonna kill us. Option A is they kill us all, or option B, they die, including their head lieutenants, and that means you become in charge of the organization, because he's like third in line or something. And then so Francis is like, I like that plan. You kill them off, and then I become head of the organization, and I'm out of this problem, right? Because he killed the boss man's son. He's got blood in his hands. He's got to figure out how to get out of this mess. So he likes that plan. He's like, I like that plan. So the secretary goes, calls the French gang, tells them exactly where the, head boss man is going to be at, right? And they have the tape. And so they want to sell the tape to the French gang for some money, right? So that's the deal. So they wait for a while. The French gang appear, and they say, yeah, we killed them, and now we want to buy the tape from you. And so they bring a suitcase full of money. But before they enter the room and all that, Francis is like, listen, you make sure the deal goes down. I'm going to hide in this back room. And you say this like key phrase, I know when to come out and kill them all. And that's the plan at hand. But here's what happens. Here's the one of the biggest twists in the movie. I mean, that movie's full of twists, but here's one. Hey, I appreciate it, Brock. You have a great night out in New York. You get some good sleep. So Francis is in the back room waiting. The French gang and the French leader of the gang comes in with a briefcase full of money, and they start negotiating, right? But here's what the Englishman does. He signals to the French head of this gang without saying a word. They're discussing. It's funny because he starts arguing with this head gang French guy, right, or lady, and like it's funny because while he's arguing with her, he's making hand signals. Like, there's a guy over there. There's one of them, and he's got a gun, and he's just like doing these hand signals while saying, "What? Not all the money is here. Are you trying to cheat us? So while he's like pretending to argue with them, he's making these hand gestures to let them know, hey, there's a guy back there with a gun. He plans to kill you. So the French lady who's the head of this gang has these two bodyguards, and what they do is they go to like near to the sides of the rear of the door, right? And Francis is like getting impatient, so he comes out of the room with a gun pointing right at the head of this French gang, and he's got two guns drawn on him from behind, and he's like, fuck, like this plan went to shit. So he's kind of panicking. He's like, okay, here's what we'll do. I don't kill you, I don't die, I take the money, and you let me out the building, right? And the French woman starts like, starts talking, and she's like really agitated. She's like, I really hate you motherfuckers. Like, you think you're so slick and you ruin the neighborhood, this and that. And the Englishman's like, he says like one of the best lines in the movie, I think. He says, he goes to the corner, he's acting all cool, and he tells the French lady, you have nothing to worry from this man. He's no threat to you. And she goes, why not? And he goes, well, before he went to the back room, I emptied out the bullets in his gun. And so Francis looks at his gun. He takes his eyes off the Frenchwoman and kind of looks at his gun to see there's bullets. And as soon as he looks to see if there's bullets in his gun, they shoot him. It just took like a second, right? So he's there on the ground. You think, at this point you think he's dead. And the Frenchwoman takes the tape, they take the money, and the Frenchwoman leaves, right? They make a deal. But here's the thing here's the other plot twist in the movie. So that tape is a fake. That tape, he found the secretary was working with the FBI, and there's a tape recording machine that's been like taping conversations back in the back room of the tailor shop. Well, what she didn't know is the Englishman recorded over that tape, and he recorded over the tape talking about how to make suits, which is hilarious. And so they bought a fake tape. Now he had a second tape, and he used that second tape to record everything that happened, including the French woman bragging about how she killed the head boss man of this gang, right? The Boyles. And so that's on tape. And so what they plan to do is take down the French woman by using this tape. They have her on the tape now. It's saying that she killed a man. And so the secretary is like, okay, so I'm gonna take the money, I'm gonna take this tape to the FBI, and everything's happy, right? It's a happy ending. So she leaves. As soon as she leaves, the guy who was shot twice, who we assume is dead, actually gets up, and he's like bleeding and stuff. He's like half dead, and he's just set on revenge. He's just gonna kill the guy, right? He's just out of his mind. He's like, you motherfucker. So, but he's still kind of out of it, and so he shoots his gun a couple times and misses the Englishman, but gets him. He actually shoots him in the arm, but the other bullets miss. And so after that, he pulls out a knife, and he goes after the Englishman. Here's the biggest twist of them all. Here is the biggest twist of them all. So the Englishman is cornered, right? And the guy has a knife right there. He's right there in front of him. He's like, I'm gonna kill you. And the Englishman is like, well, here's the thing. Back in my day, I was one of the biggest gangsters in London. And I traded my life to become a good man and become a tailor, and I got married and had kids. But eventually, I couldn't hide, and they killed my wife and my kids, and I had to move to Chicago. And I'm one of the biggest killers. And so he rolls up his sleeves, and he's got all these tattoos on his arm, and you're like, holy shit, who is this guy? And so he takes what happens is Francis comes at him with the knife, and the Englishman takes a pair of scissors, and he freaking just jabs it in this guy's neck, like that. He's just bleeding. He falls to the ground, and then suddenly you see for who this Englishman is. He is like total murderous monster. I mean, his eyes, his face is full of rage. He's just like, ah, and he's about to stab him in the heart, right? He's just about to do it. And before he can do it, he realized that Francis passed away. He's already dead. And while this is happening, mind you, while all this is happening, the Englishman, to bury any proof of anything, he actually lights his shop on fire. So the whole thing is on fire. You have Francis trying to kill the Englishman, and again, one of the best plot twists, at like best ending possibly for a plot twist, is he reveals that he used to be like a hardcore killer gangster in London. And so this is like he's just explaining to the man that this is like child's play to him. And so he just fucking kills Francis, and he walks out, the whole building burns up, and that's it. That's the whole fucking movie. Incredible movie. Incredible. I've watched it 3 times. I'm probably going to go back over there to my bed and watch it again. Because the acting is so good. You don't suspect a single thing from the Englishman. Not one thing. For the whole time, you thought he was like the sweetest man, a gentleman. You didn't think that he was. And here's the thing. He planned all of this. The mail that they were getting from the like, there's this little mailbox in his back room where the 2 gangsters would come in and check the mail. Well, he was planting mail from the outfit. So the gangs never actually got mail from the outfit. That was him creating fake letters to the gangsters, and he put the tape in there, and he told the gang, like, it was all him. It was his plan to get rid of these guys, to get rid of all of them, because he left London to get away from gangsters, to get away from this, and he opens up a tailor shop in Chicago, and what happens is he gets a bunch of gangsters to come in and buy suits, and then that tailor shop becomes a safe haven for gangsters, and he absolutely hates it. But you don't have a single clue that he hates it until like closer to the end of the movie. So he planned all of this. He planned all of this to, like, for them to kill each other, and he just one by one systematically disassembled, like, and got everybody killed, and all that, all through his own thinking. So at the end of the movie, you're like, damn, this guy's a freaking genius. This guy's like hardcore gangster genius, right? He's like he's an old man, but back in the day, he must have been like a savage, And it hits you. You're like, man, this guy is freaking incredible. Definitely worth the watch. It's got a nice pace to it. It starts out slow, like the first 10, 15 minutes, but then it really picks up, and once it picks up, it just never stops. And I love the fact that, well, the character is so interesting. He's just so interesting. He's so brilliant. The guy who does the acting does it so brilliantly. He just nails it, The plot twists are completely unsuspecting. You just don't know what the heck is happening. And then the final reveal and the final fight is incredible. And to top it off, the fact that they did it all in one location, to me, to keep it simple, brilliant. One of the most brilliant movies right now out there. It's very tasteful. It's classy. It's one of those movies that reminds me of like Road to Perdition or something, but it's done in one location. It's done so brilliantly, and they get away with it. They did such a good job with it that you don't know what to think. You're just like, what is going on? Like, this is insanity. But I thought it was a brilliantly made movie. The storyline was brilliant. The characters were brilliant. Yeah, it was all brilliant. I didn't like who was playing the head boss man. He came off like kind of weak, like kind of like a weakling. Like this fat man who kind of reminded me a little bit of the Penguin, a little bit from like the old Batman movies, like the fat Penguin. But he had like a very weak voice. He kind of sounded like Joe Pesci a little bit, but he wasn't aggressive at all. He came off as like this really sweet man. It was really weird. I didn't like that part of it necessarily because it was hard to believe that the head of this gang was this guy, right? This fat guy who was like a sweet man. I couldn't believe it. To me it was like it doesn't come off like he would be the guy who is like the head of a huge gang that they kill and murder people. Um, I didn't get that from him. I got that he was a little bit stupid, but maybe that was the whole point, was to make the head of the gang come off a little bit stupid. And so, but then again, the way the Englishman talked about him made him seem really intelligent. Which, the fact that he was able to point out the coat did make him smart. He was like a wise guy. He couldn't really put one over him. At least to a degree. But again, this whole he reminded me of a sweet old man who was a baker or something. He didn't come off like he was the head of a whole organization. But watch it because even me telling you this, I didn't do it justice. You have to watch it. I highly recommend it. I give it 5 stars out of 5 stars, or 10 out of 10, whatever. 2 thumbs up, whatever you want to call it. I like that it's a period piece, Chicago, like almost like 100 years ago. I don't know, something like 90, 80 years ago. So it's got this like period feel to it. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go watch it again. I love that movie so much. I'm gonna watch it again for like the 4th time, And that's how you know a movie is good, when you have to watch it again. Even though you know the plot and you know everything and you know all the plot twists, it's still enjoyable the 2nd time. It's still enjoyable the 3rd time. I'm gonna go watch it for the 4th time because it's I just love that movie. It's like right now it's like number 1 in my book. Anyways, I wanted to kind of give my little movie review. It's called The Outfit. The main actor you'll recognize because he's been in some movies. He's been in some Spielberg movies. He was in Player Ready 1. He played the geeky nerd guy who created the Oasis. He played that the old nerd guy, And what's hilarious is he's such a good actor. Like watching him play this character, this nerdy character in Player Ready 1, and watching him play this tailor who like you think is sweet and ends up being like he had a past of being like this serious like professional gangster in London. Superb. He pulls it off so good, so perfectly. I don't think there's nobody who could have played that part like more perfectly than this guy. I can't remember his name. I gotta find out what his name is because I'm not that familiar with this actor. He's been popping up in a lot of movies, like very popular movies, and I gotta say this one is his finest work that I've ever seen. Like his best acting, one of the best like simple storyline, but it keeps you guessing. You're like, what the hell is going on? And the way it unfolds really keeps you entertained. But anyways, that's my movie review for the Outfit. Highly recommend it. I watched it on Netflix, and like I said, it was enjoyable. And I guess that's all I have to say. And if anybody has any comments, please comment below. If you have any questions about the movie or anything, I'll try to answer it. But if not, I guess I'll leave it at that. And wish everybody a good night. If you can, if you like to help this channel grow, give me one of those subscribe. Go ahead and give me one of those. I'm very close to 1,000. And speaking about movies, I actually made my own independent movie, and I keep telling people once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to release my independent movie on YouTube, and you can watch it for free. Anyways, everybody have a good night. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the likes and all that and the comments, and I hope you get around to watching it, because it's a good one. All right, I'm out, folks. You all have a good night. Peace out.